live.
Here we are in the courtyard of the Chamber of the Holocaust, which is Israel's first museum for the Holocaust. It was built in 1948 during the War of Independence, but that's not what we're going to focus on right now. We're going to focus on what's over here in the courtyard, which behind me is the Tree of Life. And you might be familiar with that term from the Bible, the book of Genesis. So we're going to go back in time thousands of years to the book of Genesis, to the Garden of Eden with the Tree of Life. And over here we actually have a strawberry tree, which is actually quite rare, surrounded on all sides by the various different seven species in the land of Israel. We have figs, we have dates, we have olives, we have all different types of famous fruits from the land of Israel. And in the center is the Tree of Life. Now, what actually happened in this story has to do in a major way with what we were talking about before. We spoke about earlier the power of kingship through the power of speech. And it's over here in the story of creation where we start to see the proper use and the negative use of the power of speech. First of all, we know, and we could read about clearly in the text, that God creates the world through the mechanism of the power of speech. You know, on the first day, on the second day, third day, etc., God is creating luminaries. He's creating the land, the rivers and the oceans, creating the fish and the birds, the animals, and the final creation of mankind, all through the power of speech, the power of words. The power of words can create life. It has the power to create life. And as God creates Adam and Eve, he creates them not just as the other creations, just simply to live and to be fruitful and multiply, but there's a further purpose to the creation of man, and that is to follow, to adhere to the word of God. God doesn't just create man, gives him a commandment. That commandment is, do not eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. By following the word of God not to eat from that tree, we are fulfilling the purpose that we're creating. Now, that doesn't just mean a commandment for a human being that lived thousands of years ago. That has to do with us and our lives, and following God's commandments today in our time is something that God still wants us to do, still wants us to fulfill this original mission of mankind, which unfortunately was not fulfilled back then. But the purpose of our creation, the purpose of this world right now, is to rectify the original sin of Adam and Eve and go back to that point. And we can all do that on an individual level. When we realize that this world has a purpose, this world is a created entity and it has a creator, and the creator has a purpose and a design for each one of us, and by fulfilling the commandments, and for Jews that means the 613 biblical commandments, and for all the nations of the world that means the 7 universal Noahide commandments. So by fulfilling these commandments in our own ways, in our own unique ways, we are drawing forth the divine energy down into the world, the flow of godliness into the world through adhering to these commandments. And by doing so, we're fulfilling the original purpose of creation, and through that we can get to the tree of life and eat from the tree of life, and God willing live eternally in the Garden of Eden, which means this physical world will be transformed into the Garden of Eden, an eternal place of goodness, of following the will of God in a way of eternity.